What's up, YouTube? Welcome to Muscle Memory. My name is Malcolm, and today we're talking to an NWA star that's challenging for the NWA National Heavyweight Championship at NWA 312. It's EC3. How are you, man?
I am well. Like before we start a Zoom, I think it's just the AI voice that tells you it's recording is so petrifying.
It's so awkward. It's like this meeting's being recorded. It's so awkward.
Okay, I mean, thank you for telling me, but what else is going on? Where's our information going? Where's our data going, Miss AI? I don't trust you. I don't trust you one bit. Oh, but call me a conspiracy theorist. Fine, I am, and I've been right. So, hey, how are you?
I'm doing well, man. I mean, I love that little rant right there. I actually like the pictures in your background. Like, can you explain what's going on in your background right now?
Yeah, I can tell you all about this thing. So,
love it.
Let's see what we got. Down bottom right, we have Teddy Roosevelt.
Okay.
Great American. To the left of that, we have Ethan Carter III, another great American.
Of course, the best.
And the World War II landing at Iwo Jima, great Americans. And at the very top, it's John Hamm. John Hamm from Mad Men.
Yes,
great
sir.
American, handsome as hell. So just
a bunch of great Americans. But dude, you're challenging for a national championship, heavyweight title, very soon, NWA 312. Why did you choose the national title to go after? Maybe not even the world title, because I feel like you have the credibility and name value to go after a title like that.
I'm not going to lie to you and say that like I'm not trying to do anything, hide my intentions. The World Heavyweight Championship is my complete and utter attention and focus and end goal. It's the national title that I feel is a stepping stone to get there. The national championship does have prestige. The fact that the very first national champion, Austin Idol, gets to be in the corner of my opponent while I become the national champion is kind of a sick vindication I have. Like I like throwing it in the face of like the old timers and the nostalgia. Like I'm so sick of like we can't stop hearkening about the past, and the past just won't go away.
Yeah.
And that's I think been a crutch of wrestling for the longest time, is like we cannot move forward. We only rely on the past. And every time people clamor, the fans, we want something new, we want something different, we want something unique. Hey, we're bringing this guy back. Dream Matt, people are still talking about Undertaker versus Sting. Dudes, it ain't happening. Shut up, okay? So the national championship, that's a stepping stone. The world's heavyweight champion, I have a theory. Like I'm creating myself to be in my final form. This image I have, this overman, I'm going to call it, and it needs work still. Like to perfect who I am, I need to go through these other challenges to get there. So could I challenge for the World Heavyweight Championship? Yeah. Could I win? Probably. I'm pretty awesome. But is it the right place at the right time for me? Or do I want that to be a penultimate crowning moment where I retain or, win my very third World's Heavyweight Championship? And then, I have like a tattoo idea to match it. Like then I got the 3 on it. 3's in my name. It's a weird manifestation I have. So we'll get there. But for now, national title.
Does EC3 still stand for Ethan Carter III, or is it something different now?
Stands for whatever you want it to stand for.
All right.
In theory, was Ethan Carter III the guy that was in NXT and WWE, or was it EC3? He was never called Ethan. Is he truly a Carter? Well, yeah, of course. Or am I? I mean, as the pandemic rose and Control Your Narrative and Ring of Honor, EC3 came about and was the essential character. EC can mean whatever you want it to mean. That's the way I look at it. Does it still mean Ethan Carter? In some ways, but again, why toil in the past?
Totally fair.
You find a brand that's easy to chant, you stay with it no matter what.
Of course. How do you feel like you're going to actually capture this championship against Cyon? Because he's a bad dude, but I know you're a bad guy also. So how are you going to go in there and actually get the championship?
Well, more than likely, pinfall or submission, I think would be my best bet. So.
Perfect answer. I mean, I couldn't have asked for better.
I'll either pin him or I will make him tap out. I mean, he is a bad dude. Here's the way I look at it is, despite how, quote, bad he is and how, quote, bad I may be, I have a feeling that he's kind of close to the area of Chicago, which means he kind of has intentions to show out good and well. I am pretty good at a master manipulator in a sense. I am good at exploiting people when they make mistakes. Lord knows, ask my last girlfriend. Just kidding. Geez, there's a viral clip.
Hey, yo.
But the people that make mistakes because they try so hard to appease fans as opposed to win matches. So let's take the last NWA pay-per-view, Kevin Kiley, for instance. He comes back. He's, fish out of water. He doesn't know what's going on. He made a rash decision to try to make a living at this. I gave him the opportunity because I knew the person he could be. He came in, got his ass whipped, had one little glimmer of hope where he had a chance. And what did he do? He didn't try to win. He didn't try to harken back to what brought him to the dance originally. This idiot comes jumping out of a ring trying to land on top of me. And here's the thing about any professional wrestler that I challenge or fight: I will not catch you. I am not going to stand there and let you jump out of a ring and land on me ever. So, and then the quote term, it was like a botch. No, I was never, ever going to let that man jump on me. Whether his foot got slightly caught or it didn't, I was moving because that was my intent, because I knew he would try to do something stupid, and he did. So what did I do? I let him fall flat on his face, embarrass himself in front of the world, rolled his ass back in the ring, and I beat him. So, yeah, I bet Cyon will be the same thing, except he probably won't hit the top rope on his way outside the ring. I'll still move, though.
I mean, that's totally fair. I don't know why you want to catch someone that's throwing.
Who does? It's,
right?
What are you gonna do? Just stand there and slowly turn into somebody flying through? No, I know what's going on. I mean, unless you really catch me on the button and I don't know what's going on, yeah. I'm moving, man. I sure as hell, I'll never, ever, 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 ever be in this pylon of 6 to 8 guys, misplacing punches, just looking around, not knowing, waiting for some idiot to ascend to the top and do his it's taunt and then jump, probably flip. Cool, great. I'm moving every time.
I mean, as you should. Again, why would you want to catch someone that's jumping at you? So
we get it. We're men with memories.
With strong memories. Does EC3 still hate super kicks? Because I know that was a banned move in CYN. So do you not like super kicks?
I love the idea of super kicks. I love a well-placed, timed, perfectly executed super kick that results in a pinfall finish. Or, I never hated super kicks. I can do a super kick, but you know what? So could you. So could probably 90% of the people watching this. So when it becomes not special, you take it away. The thing about banning the super kick in CYN, it was more of a challenge to talent to find ways around the rules, different ways to win, even different ways to utilize a super kick in CYN sanctioned matches. Anytime a super kick did take place, it was behind the referee's back, and it always led to a decisive finish. So the super kick works when it's done right. I like a super kick done well. Do I like a super kick after super kick after super kick? No, I don't. I'm sorry. Actually, I'm not. I don't apologize for anything. I don't like it. I think it's ad nauseum and silly. But some people might, and that's cool. Slap a leg. I don't give a shit.
Unapologetic, and I love it. Do you think we'll ever see a return of Control Your Narrative as a wrestling promotion? Or is
no, there's never supposed to be a promotion. Okay. Good question.
Okay.
That was a mistake. One thing, it's accountable. The idea that I allowed other people to infiltrate my idea for a movement to try to make it become a monetized promotion, it was bad faith, bad judgment in the character of people to being able to do what they said. It lost the purpose of what it was, controlling your narrative. I gave that narrative to so many others, and each and every one of them failed in the sense they can't do what is necessary to suffer, to strive, to fight, to make something succeed. Our wrestling industry has a very, very, very big problem with people that are complacent and entitled. Yeah. That was to be the opposite of it. As a promotion, no. That's why the NWA working relationship with CYN, more so as a brand or a faction or an ideal, is far superior and always what I wanted it to be. So CYN will go forward in a different sort of sense. People will be affiliated, professional wrestlers. It's going to be the front for the army I would build. It's going to be the basis of perhaps a academy I create, a school in a sense. for programming, training, things of that nature, where, you know, independent wrestlers can truly learn the arts and the sport of this industry through the CYN method. So that's what it's going to become.
Did you
Not to say it's not a great brand. I mean, look all the things I can do. I can do control your beard. You know, that's why I keep it around. Control your nutrition.
love it?
It's almost as good as Old Bay. So yeah, it's also super marketable. So
It really is. Did you find it frustrating when Braun Strowman or Adam Shearer and Karrion Kross signed back to WWE, and that kind of made like CYN a little bit difficult to run?
No, because it actually, like, when you're dealing with high level talents and, you know, the monetary aspects, how much are they going to be able to give you of themselves at, you know, the lower end of the spectrum, so to speak, to build something. So if we were a real company with financing and backing, we weren't. I'm the backer of it. The fact we got that far, in a sense, is kind of amazing. But no, absolutely not. The thing about CYN, it was never about building a promotion to challenge the other three-letter brands, as much as it was a place for talent to go, to find themselves, recreate themselves, discover themselves. Yeah. And I would say Karrion Kross, Braun Strowman, two giant success stories of what CYN is, because they came in, they did their thing, they learned something about themselves, and now they're where they're supposed to be. So it was a success for both, and CYN as a whole.
Yeah, it's definitely a success for you as well. Now you're with the NWA. You're obviously in a title picture now. You're doing so many great things, and you showed your control your narrative, or control your nutrition, I should say. And like, just looking at, like, let's just get to it, dude. You are shredded, like shredded, like hell. Like, what the heck? On the NWA Power, Black G said that you're 3% body fat. Is that legit?
Yeah,
3%.
I don't know
how do you compete like that?
You know, because everything hurts, dude. Like, I mean, I don't know if it's legitimate 3%.
Yeah.
Prior to that, like, I stay conditioned year round, you know.
Yeah.
It almost to a fault, to where things hurt, and then, you know, injuries and things like that come about. But prior to that, you know, the in-body scan where you're doing your body fat testing and you're holding the things and you're barefoot. It was like, I'm walking around, I'm not training to be like on stage or, you know, dial in for a show. And it was like 3.4. And I'm like, that's absurd. That's ridiculous. But we can legitimately say that because I have documentation to prove it. So I'm probably 5 right now because I was trying to get size on, but like,
5%. Wow. Someone gained weight. Jeez.
And I eat, like, and that's the thing too. Join.freeec3.com. I create custom programs and nutrition things for people. As CYN goes forward, I'm going to build a whole, you know, not fitness empire. I don't want to be a shitty Instagram fitness influencer, but somewhere there, you know, the insights and, you know, I have the hacks, the capabilities, you know, the motivation, the dedication to self that can live. And hopefully, if you want it to inspire you, it can. If you want to take it, you can. If you don't, I don't care, because it's your life, not mine.
Amazing, amazing. I want to shift gears a little bit and talk a little bit about your time back in like WWE and TNA, because I'm not gonna lie, I was a Derek Bateman guy. Like, I don't know how often you hear that, but like, I was
more often than you think.
Good. You should hear that. You deserve that. But like, back when you were in NXT, your pro was Bryan Danielson. Do you guys still have a relationship to this day, or was that pairing mainly like on screen and not necessarily off screen?
Wrestling's interesting where like colleagues and friendships are based around when you're around each other. So if I like shot him a text or he shot me a text, there'd be a conversation and it'd be fun and cool and good, and we hope for the best for each other. I would assume. I don't want him to do bad, and I'm sure he's not sitting there spiting me for no reason. But within wrestling, like, if we're around each other, we're probably, you know, talking junk and having conversations nonstop. But when you're not around people, sometimes, I don't know, I'm kind of a hermit. So I would say in the wrestling world, friendship and colleagues, yeah, for sure.
How much of a pro was he for you in NXT though? Like, was he actually giving you advice outside of it?
As a pro, like, that season was a colossal kind of like, The Office didn't care. And so what made our season so much fun is that we saw that ahead of time, where we kind of like, okay, they don't care, then we will run with it. And so Daniel Bryan, aka Bryan Danielson, is always one to like, stick it to the corporate wrestling machine anytime he can. So he was very in tune with having a good time and doing fun things within the realm of that silly little hour of internet television. So a pro like that for sure. But I mean, short of the submission wrestling exhibitions we'd put on, was he training me up to be this, in-ring guru? No, man, we don't do that.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I want to talk about like a really odd segment I saw on Raw, and it was all the McMahon standing in a row with Triple H as well, and they were talking about a bunch of NXT call-ups that are coming to the roster very soon.
Oh, God.
And one of those packages was you, Lacey Evans, Heavy Machinery, and Lars Sullivan. When did you find out that kind of segment was happening? That you were just going to get brought up to main roster with a collection of different NXT stars?
Like a couple days before, really. It was very much a rash. No hindsight, kind of like they needed to do something in their mind. So like this will attract, when you live for the rating week by week, sometimes you do things with rash and no foresight to hopefully boost attention. But at the same time, if there's nothing backing it, then it's just going to falter no matter what. So it was kind of the call you always wanted, like to get called up to the main roster, to be on Raw. But when I got the call and I heard the idea, I'm like, this isn't going to be good. Like my intuition said, this ain't it, dude. And I was like, well, but it's the only chance you have right now. So roll with it. But like, yeah, there was no sweet character development in line. It was just kind of like, we need to do something. Well, these guys are all capable. Throw them up on TV. Who cares? And then that was that. So yeah, shit, back in the day, vignettes were shot with like visions and hindsight. My vignette was shot in my apartment where I'm walking in and I'm wearing my gear under nice clothes. I was just looking at the footage, the raw footage, because I was making a reel that was very self-deprecating. I'm like, this is ridiculous. Like, whose idea was that, Vince? Okay, thanks. So yeah, it was the call I always wanted, but not in the way you want it. So, and that's kind of the universe sometimes. Sometimes the universe is going to give you what it gives you, but it's not exactly what you want. What do you do with it? How do you make it the best? I didn't make it the best. I could have probably done more. I could have been more, forceful and, intuitive and followed my instincts, as opposed to thinking that there was a reason and this would work because people wanted it to work. I was the only one that wanted it to work, and I didn't do enough to make it work.
Were there any like creative plans that you had in mind, or maybe the company had in mind, that just didn't come to fruition?
Coming off of that, it was just kind of being thrown into the mix. So, I mean, what did I want to do? Yeah. I wanted to vanquish John Cena at WrestleMania. I wanted to work with Randy Orton, I wanted to be in that, echelon of people that can tell extremely great stories and like build to things that, people wanted to see, with depth and character and long-term storytelling. That's what I wanted. It's not what I got, nor can you get something just by wanting it. You have to do something to get it. So I don't think there was any sort of like, there wasn't any bullet points like, here's your going to be your career arc where we're thinking it's going. It was like, hey, you're getting called up. Hey, we're going to air your vignette today. Hey, we're going to air it again. Hey, we're going to air it again. Hey, we're going to air it again. Hey, you're going to wrestle Dean Ambrose. Hey, Dean Ambrose is quitting. Now the office is mad at him, so you're taking the heat. What? Okay, now you're chasing the title. No, they didn't give me the red cup either. I chose to bring the red cup into fruition. So yeah, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. When Dean Ambrose decided to leave WWE, how's that you take the heat for a situation that he's kind of just leaving for on his own terms?
I mean, maybe I did, maybe I didn't. That's something he mentioned in a podcast. Wrestling is also extremely weird and vindictive, where if you can't punish, if you're a alpha power dog, absolutely God amongst your industry, where everything you say is law and rule, and you can do whatever you want, maybe there's some sort of like twisted validation that somebody has to pay for the sins of others. I don't know exactly, but I do know that, working with him, we were having really good matches. And I think it came down to, I was a quote babyface. Well, he was a quote heel, but he announced that he was leaving to where therefore the fans who respected him for his hard work and being on top for so long would cheer him because they know him, and then they see me and I'm just a jacked up, dude in the, golden tan who only does 5 moves, where they're like, wait, I like him. I don't like this guy. Why would I like this guy? Because this guy, I know this guy. I don't know this guy. And this guy looks like a dick. So in matches where I'm good and he's evil, fans were cheering for him and then not cheering for me, which is fine, because as long as they're making noise, that's all you care about. The only sound you don't want to hear is the sound of indifference. But I believe one of the matches we had on a live event, kind of being professional, we swap roles mid-match where I became the aggressor and started doing the bad shit. And he started, firing from underneath, and I would steal the match maybe. Yeah. And I think the fact we went against the grain is what maybe kind of punish him for that. Possibly. Speculation. I have no facts to back that up other than assumptions and intuition.
Yeah, I mean that definitely is not fair. But talking about your time in TNA, do you still talk to your aunt Dixie Carter?
I do, actually. She actually guest starred in one of my reels. I had her. I was watching Vanilla Sky and I had an idea, so I was like, "Hey, can you send me an audio clip of you saying 'Wake up, darling'?" And she gave me 40 takes. She's like, "Is that good enough?" Yeah, she just kept sending them. I'm like, one's like, it's a reel. It's not like we're not making fucking Spielberg over here. It's okay. But yes, I do talk to her. I keep in touch with her, and she's a sweetheart. I helped her daughter get a knee brace when she was on a school trip in Orlando. So family ties are strong.
I was gonna say, how's life growing up as Dixie Carter's nephew?
It was weird, considering she's a Southern debutante, came from, just like, elite living, while, for most of my life, I was living in the suburbs of Cleveland, Ohio, kind of like, very normal middle-class life. And then one day, you find out your aunt's world famous wrestling promoter, and next thing you know, you're a champion. It was kind of a whirlwind, to say the least. But growing up as, I always knew I had it in me, that Carter in me, that Carter dog. So that's how.
Of course. How big of a fan were you of your different theme songs over the time? Like, how would you rank all the theme songs you had? Because that one at TNA, that was good.
They were all bangers. Well, how would you rank them? Because they're all good.
I would put the TNA Trouble, Trouble, Trouble. I would put that first.
Okay.
I would probably put, it was kind of like a rock rap kind of thing in WWE. I'll put that second because I like that one a lot. I feel like the FCW music was a little generic.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah, okay. All right, so I'm trying to be honest.
Let's break down the 3.
Okay.
Top 1% in WWE, Trouble in Impact, and then the theme I use now within the narrative confines, which I had scored and produced by Tommy Schaffner up in Cleveland. That was basically, it's like I'm big into cinema score, so I wanted that kind of ambiance and feeling to go with it to kind of switch it up. How do I rank them? Yeah. They all have their merits. I would say Trouble seems to get the most attention, and it had the thing about that is it was not initially created for me. I kind of inherited it, and it just worked, and it was perfect.
Can I ask who it was for?
What's that?
Who was it for, if you know?
I don't. I know, my Uncle Serge made the song with Dale up in Nashville, and it was just kind of in stock. They were like, we got a hit. We don't know who it's going to go to. So fortunately, I'm family, so they gave it to me. But it worked because it had the hook, and it had one word and it repeated, and then the lyrics kind of fit to where the art of being creative too is taking something and making it your own. So I was able to kind of okay, this is what we're talking about. I can employ that. Top 1% was, I helped write the lyrics, which was cool and I enjoyed. And it does have it does kind of rock. And then I think they did a good job with that. WWE's guy at the time, I don't believe they're still there. So how to rank them? I mean, it's probably going to be Trouble, top 1%, narrative theme, but they're all really close. So The theme's important, entrance is important, music's very important. Music derives emotion and can tell you who a character is before you even know. Like, yeah. So something I tell young people.
When it came to you winning the world championship, that was a great moment, by the way. How far in advance did you know that you're going to win that title? Because obviously you had so many different feuds with Sting, Bully Ray, Jeff Hardy, etc. When did you know you were going to win that world title?
I like to not know things. I think a lot of wrestlers are like looking so far ahead of like, where's this going and what's the end? Like I have an end in mind that I want, which is obviously that. But I didn't know till honestly the day of.
Oh, wow.
And I really didn't know till I pinned Kurt Angle 1, 2, 3. But you can see if you're, if you're cognate of wrestling and like how things are being built. But the thing was, by not knowing, it allowed me to mentally prepare for one or the other. So I think a problem with a lot of wrestlers that are getting the push and maybe they get in there with the top guy and they don't get the win per se, like, oh, he's getting buried by so-and-so because he didn't put him over at this big match. Sometimes the big match isn't the one you need to win. It's the one you need to lose to become the guy who comes back and win, which I think is something fans oversee. So in my mind, it's like, okay, I've worked this hard. We've gotten this far. My finish has integrity. I'm working the best wrestler in the world. If I win, I'm the champion, and I have to carry this with I really have to switch and be an extreme, like, serious, ass-kicking individual, but not lose character. Well, if I lose, what happens? What would a guy like me do if I worked so hard and got to this point and then lost? So, like, if I wasn't going to win, I would have had to drastically alter who I was, I think, almost into like a psychotic rampage of somebody who just couldn't handle the thought of defeat, goes away, comes back, and is like not completely different, but more, far more driven and psychotic about it. Whereas though I did win, so then it was to ascend to that throne and be kind of the driving force for the time. So, but I knew the day of.
Amazing, amazing. And now you start to slowly wrap this up. I want to talk about like working with Billy Corgan versus like other promotions, because like obviously Billy Corgan for a while now. He was in TNA as well during your time, and obviously your aunt once was your boss as well, and then Vince McMahon. How would you compare working for all three of them? Like how are their creative ideas different?
Vince, we caught at the tail end, so it's hard for me to judge Vince because it seemed the man I knew or expected him to be, the one I heard about from, legends of the past, I didn't see, but maybe he didn't see it in me, so he wouldn't give me the same time. But the guy that like I wanted to be a leader, I would run through a wall for, like the guy I wanted to like adopt his ethics and like work my ass off for, I didn't meet. I didn't see him. It was when I met him, it was like, it's kind of like meeting the Wizard of Oz behind the curtain. It was like, that's it. You're just kind of at this point just indifferent dude. This is kind of sad. Aunt D, love her to death. Like not being from wrestling, having a lifetime of, I don't want to say entitlements, but she grew up with, under great means. So losing that maybe killer instinct and edge to like really want to rip the throat out of your enemies and do everything to be number one maybe is not there. Whereas that's something Vince had. I don't know if he still has it. And then Billy, self-made completely in one of the hardest industries possible, to have one of the most successful runs in music history, to come into wrestling because he loves it, not because there's going to be this end pot of gold or it's like this giant monetary value. Like this is him pursuing his passion and his art. So what I love about working for him is that he's not going to give inches to a vocal minority over his vision and his long-term direction. So for better or worse, to a wrestling fan who might complain about certain things, he doesn't care. He has his vision. He's going to see it through, and he will not bend on that. And working within that confines is something I can truly respect.
Amazing, amazing. As we wrap this up, why do you like working for the NWA? What makes it different from other places you've been?
The potential of growth, I think, we're at a weird time within wrestling. I think the whole landscape of wrestling could probably change like that, especially with, the main companies and things like that. It seems like almost a holding pattern for something bigger to kind of like not hold back, because we don't hold back and we won't hold back at 3-1-2, and nobody ever holds back in the ring. But like, what's the next big step that can bring this company, forward, is like being all hands on deck, not waiting for, but pushing for and hoping is achieved so you can truly let it all go. I mean, we could talk about things like creative freedom and stuff of that nature. Personally, if I'm wrestling, dude, I like to be doing it all the time. So a schedule where it's, a couple TV tapings and pay-per-view once every 6 weeks, like I get antsy and I'm like, I need to work more. That's why I'm doing a lot with OVW now, just so I can be working regularly with like potential young talent and television. But I don't know what I was saying. Working for NWA, the potential of growth is what excites me, and we're to be able to be on the forefront and hopefully take it to where it should go.
Final question: what's the first thing you're going to do when you win the national heavyweight title?
I put it over my head and go, what? I mean, that's a good. The old EC3, I mean, it would have been a, all night bender. It would have been raging. It would have been hanging and banging, rocking and rolling, strutting and strolling. Current EC3, I mean, 8 hours of sleep, blue light glasses, maybe an ice bath, some Epsom salt, some deep meditation and reflection. I would imagine being victorious. I will put a lot of thought into like the facial I will make upon winning, depending on the circumstances. So the notification of like, yeah, all right, I did this. Probably something where I'm holding it and I'm looking around and I kind of slow turn and I just kind of slowly raise it up. And then I fucking look and I go like that.
I love it. I love it. EC3, where can I find you on social media so they can connect with you as you go off to go win that championship?
At the real EC3 on Instagram. I don't think I've tweeted in 6 months. I'll probably get back to that. Real EC3 on Facebook, for some reason dislogged from my Instagram account. I don't know what to do. Nobody will get back to me. Like, how do I connect these things? Like, it's a page. I don't get it, man. I'm an idiot. Controlyournarrative.com for everything that will be coming up. At Control Your Narrative on socials. What else? FreeEC3.com. Website I don't open. Instagram's the best place. And I'm hoping they ban TikTok because, well, here's why. Besides, it's terrible for people. But like, if they ban TikTok, I missed out on the TikTok rush.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, this thing's gonna grow. There's gonna be something else. And then nothing came. But now if they ban it, then what's next? Something's gonna come up so I can be on the forefront of something and like really, drive home that platform. Because yeah.
I hope I'm gonna put this on TikTok. So like you're like, oh man, what's going on?
Are you gonna get hit by the algorithm?
Yeah.
I selfishly want it banned so I can jump on what's going to take its place. And then, because if you got in on early on TikTok and you got millions of views and then you're making money for doing nothing, like what's going to be next? Is it, a Telegram? Is it, I don't know.
We'll see.
What is next?
I have no idea, man. I know what is next. It's NWA 312, and you're going to win that National Heavyweight Championship. You guys can watch it on Fight TV. You can get tickets at NWATIX.com. EC3, thank you for your time today, man. I know it's early in the morning. You were buying beef part and stuff earlier, so I got to make sure you get to that. Go season it.
Oh, no, real fast. You're a power lifter, right?
Yes, sir.
What are your stats?
So for deadlift, not in competition, I pulled 6. Bench 415 is the competition, and squat in competition is 550.
Nice. You should come down to Hard Knocks South.
Where is it?
That's in Tampa.
Tampa? I'll be there.
Secret location. You'll never be able to find it on a map.
Okay.
It's the gym of John Cena and Rob McIntyre, and that's where I did most of my powerlifting days. So we have like a whiteboard with all of our numbers on it. And I did one powerlifting meet on Derek Bateman being fired from WWE in 2013.
Yeah.
Bad knee injury, but I had a decent squat. My bench was not great, but it was good enough. But I pulled, and I didn't know it at the time, a Florida State record in deadlift at 220, under 220. I was like 210 though. And then I was like, holy shit, I just beat a record. Then they throw like a cup in my face, and like, you got to pee now. I'm like, all right, cool, whatever. Past that. And then 2 weeks later, somebody beat it by 60 pounds.
So close, so close. I mean, I would love to work out with you. We should do it.
Yeah.
We should do it.
I can't do anymore, man. If I bench, I feel like my pec's going to tear.
Oh, but you don't have to bench then. I hate the bench press anyway. Like, let's just deadlift. Just see what happens.
Let's just deadlift.
All right, let's deadlift. All right, we'll make it happen. Well make it happen. All right, thank you so much
for
your time.
Meet me there.
All right, cool. I'll send me the address. I'll pull up. All right, man. Thank you so much for the interview, guys. You can watch all the interviews in the description down below. This is EC3. My name is Mossman Malcolm, and we're out.